made sure when I scheduled this interview with you that I would have something to bring to the
Appreciate
table
that.
here. I have 2 scoops that I want to drop exclusively for the Cosmic Wonder.
Amazing, thank you.
One is from the MCU, and why don't we start with that?
Sure, absolutely. So, Mikey, thank you so much for agreeing to come on my channel today so that I can interview you. It's really an honor. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, say hello to everybody.
Well, thank you, Warren. I've been enjoying the Cosmic Wonder for the past couple of months, and I saw that you were one of the first YouTube shows that supported my scoop, so I immediately posted on my Facebook, like, hey, thank you so much for this, and it was completely unknown territory for me to be on YouTube shows. And it completely delighted that a show which you have a humongous following would be interested in what I have to say was something was very, very thrilling and exciting for me.
Well, you made the community really exciting, right? you were putting out some great stuff that ended up coming true, and
yeah. Well, the Spider-Man, I tell you, that scoop. Well, I've been involved with the whole Spider-Man story
for a while.
The original, the Sony Disney deal in the beginning. From 2014, I got that intel, and at the time I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, like, okay, I wasn't writing about comic books. I wasn't even writing for comicbookmovie.com back then. And I was just like not really writing at all, just posting on Facebook randomly and doing other things. And I got the Spider-Man scoop that, hey, Sony and Disney are working out a deal to have Spider-Man appear in the MCU. And I was like, what do I do with this information?
Who do I tell? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you got this, like, you have the story of the year and you have no place to put it in. And I was friends with a YouTube show from New York called Pete's Basement.
Oh, yeah.
And Pete DeLuca, the creator of that YouTube channel, is a huge Spider-Man fan. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give this to him because he's a huge Spider-Man fan and he can use it on his show. So I, messaged him in the middle of the night and I said, hey, Spider-Man's coming to the MCU. He's like, what? And I gave him the whole scoop and he went on Pete's Basement and revealed it to the world. And, at the time, I had very few Facebook friends. I think maybe a couple of hundred. I don't think I even had 1,000 Facebook friends then. So I didn't have much of a following, and so he got the word out about, the Spider-Man deal, and that kind of cemented my early days as a scooper.
So that was the start? Was that the start right there?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was the start, yeah. It just got lucky with that story. I had a friend, actually he was a client of mine. He's an attorney in LA, and he got that information from one of his clients. And so he gave me this information, and I'm like, well, he goes, yeah, I know you're a comic book fan. I think it might interest you. Well, yeah, that does interest me.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah, And I was actually trying to get a job with, like, Bleeding Cool and some of these other places, but they wouldn't. I couldn't get hired by them. I didn't have any comic book work online that I could show as a sample of my writing.
Gotcha.
Because most of my writing online was for the All Music Guide, all music oriented. So either that or they thought they couldn't afford me because I was working for the All Music Guide before. I don't know. So I just gave it to Pete. He ran with it. And then about 6 months later, my Facebook started to pick up already because of Spider-Man.
Right. Okay.
I got the story of a lifetime, and that was Fox and Disney were working out a deal to join forces.
The merger, right?
Yeah, on an Avengers X-Men movie. And,
oh, wow.
And that was in 2015, and no one was talking about this at all. originally, it was going to be very similar to the Spider-Man deal with Sony in that, they would split a percentage and, they would have the X-Men characters appear in an Avengers film, but Marvel wouldn't own the rights.
Right, okay.
It would just be like a licensing type of deal.
Gotcha.
And that story blew up. I mean, for somebody who had very little Facebook following back then, it blew up. It was on, I gave it to Pete's Basement again, and he called it Foxville, is what he called it, a little cute nickname there. And it didn't get picked up by anybody that I know. Well, Cosmic Book News picked it up.
Okay.
But they pick up about everything.
Yeah.
But the story, at least it got out there that, Fox and Disney were working out some sort of a deal. And then nothing. I mean, there was besides the fact that Marvel Television was, producing The Gifted and Legion, those X-Men shows.
Right.
Kind of a sign they were at least working together in some capacity. But it wasn't the big one,
Mm-hmm. Right. It wasn't Avengers vs. X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. And people were doubting me, like, oh, this guy's full of crap. This is not real. And then it got out, like, a few, like, 2017, I think. I can't remember the exact date now. But one of the legitimate news agencies revealed that Disney was going to buy Fox.
Right. I remember that.
And a couple of months before that, I did leak that information that Disney was planning on buying Fox. And again, it went nowhere.
Some more doubt, I'm sure.
Yeah, but when the news broke that Disney was buying Fox, I said, oh man, this Sutton guy was on the right track after all.
Right.
And then there have been numerous scoops since then that I broke. The Eternals film, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I actually posted it on my, as soon as she got off winning her Oscar, I went on Facebook and I said that she's meaning about Captain Marvel.
And from what I've understand and talked to you, it's still there. People can still see that in the time.
Oh yeah, it's still there. You can search for Brie Larson on my Facebook. You'll find it. It's still there.
That's awesome.
Time-stamped right after the Oscars when she got her Oscar. I said she's going to be in a meeting with Kevin Feige about Captain Marvel, but all these scoops they would post on my Facebook. And, get some attention, and then it's kind of fade away. So, when I got the Spider-Man information, first, the first story came out that, Sony and Disney were not going to, the deal was off. That was the big, heartbreaking news that came out.
Mm-hmm.
In Deadline, I think Deadline was the one who broke that story. And I got text messages all over the place. Like, is this true? I mean, all of a sudden I'm the Spider-Man expert, right?
Right, yeah, because of what you said a few years before.
Yeah, it's like, okay, and honestly, Warren, I wasn't planning on delving further into this story. I just felt like, oh man, I'm tired. I really don't want. 3 o'clock in the morning, I find out about this. I'm like, oh no. So I texted a few people I know. I said, do you know anything about this? Is this true? I went to bed. In the morning, Deadline had the story that, the deal was off.
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Man was leaving the MCU.
Yeah, no more Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, all the fans were seriously heartbroken. And there's anger everywhere. And, I got a message from this one guy that it was a pretty reliable source. And he told me, you know what, call me when you wake up in the morning, and I'll tell you the whole story. It's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. So I called them, that morning, and I said, hey, what's really going on here? And he said, oh, no, they just had a disagreement, and they're going to work things out. Nothing to worry about. I mean, it happened. And, Sony is going to try and play this like it's Marvel's fault and so on and so forth. And they're trying to get the best new deal out of this as possible. And they're going to use the media to exploit this.
Sure. I mean, it's business, right? So you use your tactics.
It's business, yeah. I mean, there's nothing out of the ordinary there, but I understand, though, that many fans aren't aware of what happens in business. And when you have two monolithic companies, dealing with each other, there's going to be a lot of ego there as well.
Sure, of course. Huge companies.
Oh, yeah, multi-billions of dollars there. And so I said, okay, is it all right if I post this on Facebook? And he said, oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and post it on Facebook. Warren, I had no idea.
That was the start.
I would have no clue. I mean, I was like, la-di-da, went on Facebook and I posted, I said the sides are going to work out. Don't worry about this. It's much ado about nothing. It'll be fine. And I posted on Facebook. I left alone. About an hour or so later, it had 500 likes or something like that. It was insane. And everybody was sharing it. I'm like, what's going on here? I just posted this little thing on Facebook.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm getting 100, 200 Facebook requests. What the heck?
Right, yeah.
And then all these YouTube shows are picking it up. I mean, overnight, it put me on the map without me expecting any of this to happen. I guess I was the only voice out there saying otherwise, because everybody else was saying gloom and doom.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
Everybody. It was a rage bait of the year, right? I mean, the doors closed.
It was.
Then Sony started doubling down on this, we can't work things out, and, these are the MCU, and everybody's freaking out, I mean, I'm like, man, it's not going to happen, and my phone was blowing up, My little Facebook post ended up getting, I don't know, I think I got thousands of shares or something. I mean, it was all over the place.
Right, yeah. I remember.
And then people finally gave me credit for the Fox Marvel deal, and Brie Larson. They started going back. I'm like, this guy was right all along.
Yep.
I felt like one of those obscure alternative rock bands that are pulled from obscurity and everybody knows who they are now,
Right. Okay, yeah, no, I can understand that perfectly. Yeah, because... Yeah, because I remember that's when I first, saw one of your scoops, and then I think I saw it, maybe comicbook.com said something, and so I remember, and I did a video on it, and I was just like, and I did my research, because I was like, well, who is this guy who's saying this?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, he broke original Spider-Man news in 2014. I was like, so clearly he knows something, or someone. So clearly there's some validity here, and then there's the Brie Larson thing. And didn't you say something about Benedict Cumberbatch as well?
That was one of mine as well. Yeah, that he was being cast as Doctor Strange, and he kept denying it. No, I haven't talked with Marvel, and Kevin Feige was saying no, we're not even having meetings with him. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yep.
And they will deny until the contracts are signed. I mean, that's how they are.
Oh, you have to, right? Yeah.
You have to. I mean, and so all of a sudden, my scooping past got uncovered.
Right, because you started. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot to add this too, that I secretly scooped stuff in two ways. I had a secret group that I was putting this information out to, and no one knew, except 270 people that were in that group. And it was a private secret group. I mean, I had no intention of finding fame or fortune from this. It was a fun thing to do.
You were just being a fan.
Just being a fan, yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And so, on Pete's Basement, when I was giving them information, they said, you know what, do you want to do this under a secret identity? And so for a couple of years, I was called the Shadow on Pete's Basement.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I was scooping all these stories through them under the alias. And it wasn't until after the Spider-Man deal, the most recent one, where they outed me on the show, and they made a big deal out of it, like, hey, this guy who's famous now, he's actually been doing this for years on our show as the Shadow. He is the Shadow.
Identity exposed.
Yeah. But I had no idea the impact that Spider-Man post would have.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I continued to follow up on it. Because remember, after that initial announcement, it got worse. Like, the news got worse. I mean, all these other scoopers were saying the door's closed. Sony's going to start their own Spider-Verse without the MCU. It was a total nightmare.
Yeah, I remember all of it all. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and I had to keep following up and saying, no, it's not, bad at all. I mean, they're just trying to make it look that way. And sure enough, they got the deal done. And that really catapulted me because, oh man, he's right. He was right again.
Right, yeah.
And that's when I decided, okay, maybe I should just continue doing this in public now instead of hiding under an alias or scooping privately. Our group Geekosity was created, and it's been fun, man. I do it for fun.
It seems like it is.
Yeah, I mean, I love comic books. I mean, if you want to, we'll delve into my history in a minute. But
yeah.
It's just, I want to get as much accurate information out there as possible, and fans want to know. Your viewers want to know. And that's why they watch the Cosmic Wonder. They want to see what leaks and scoops are out there. What is there to look forward to in the various cinematic universes?
Yeah, that's what we love. That's why I originally started my channel. I know I talk a lot about Marvel, but I mean, I'm a really a true nerd all around, right? I love everything.
Same here.
Yeah,
same here.
And I think most people do. But you and I have talked. You've told me a little bit about your backstory. Not a lot of people know your backstory. Why don't you go ahead and tell us how you first got started? I know you were first published professionally in 1987. You said.
Yeah, 87. I know. It's 33 years ago now. It's hard to believe. I was only 19.
Oh wow.
But I became a comic book fan in 1978, and the first comic books I ever bought was Master of Kung Fu, actually.
Oh, really?
And I'm so excited about the movie, which by the way, that was one of my scoops as well. Privately, but it's there,
You can see it, right, yeah.
Yeah, there was a TV show in California called Special Edition, and they had an episode with Stan Lee. And I never heard of the guy. I was not reading comic books at all at the time. And I was really captivated by what I saw because they had footage from the Hulk cartoons, which I had never seen before. Spider-Man cartoons and images of comic books. They showed Shang-Chi and whoa, an Asian guy. I'm half Asian, so I was like, wow, Asian superhero. And I was telling my then brother-in-law about it because we were watching the show, and he said, you want to get into comic books? I can get you into comic books. I said, oh heck yeah! So the very next day, he goes to Toys R Us with me. I think it was Toys R Us.
Toys R Us.
And I think it was, pretty sure it was Toys R Us, but he bought me a book called The Origins of Marvel Comics.
Oh, cool.
And so my first comic books I ever read were the first appearance of the Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Fantastic Four, Thor, instant history, like right in the beginning, And so I remember reading that. I was like about 9 years old, and I was mesmerized. And that book also had the Silver Surfer in it.
Right.
So there's just really cool-looking characters. And a year before this, I saw Star Wars, the first one, opening day. And I was so lucky because Sacramento was one of the few cities that had Star Wars on opening day. And I saw the Century Theater in Sacramento. Blew my mind. So when I saw Marvel Comics and all this, fantastic characters and everything, it reminded me of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So immediately I got into it, and fast forward to 87, I was in the Philippines, my home country. I returned home and, became a writer when I was there. I had a mentor named Goldwyn Morales Azul. He was a rock critic in the Philippines, legendary rock critic. And he got me into new wave and punk rock at the time. And he was the first person to publish me. And my first reviews were Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, wow.
I still have it. I was only 19 years old. And from then, I moved to Seattle, got into the Seattle music scene, and so it was mostly very musically oriented. I got into comic books in 1989 when Batman came out. Everybody got back into comics when Batman came out.
Right.
And then I discovered Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, and I got hired by Amazing Heroes magazine. And, as a kid back in the early 80s, I used to love Amazing Heroes. I just couldn't afford the magazine. It was too pricey for a kid.
Pricey.
Yeah, and it's still fantastic. And then I ended up writing for them both.
That's awesome.
So my roots in writing about comic books goes back 30 years.
Yeah, wow. Wow. So you've been really in it for a long time.
Oh yeah, very long time. And 2001, I became a writer for the All Music Guide, and I was there for about 4 to 5 years.
Wow.
I wrote 500 articles for them, a little over that.
Ooh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I've gotten numerous awards. I won the Washington Press Association Awards in 1989.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long career, man. I mean, this is just scratching the surface of what I've done.
Oh, sure, yeah. Since 1989.
People know me from the scoops, but I go way back.
Yeah, you've been in it a while. That's one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, to have you tell your story to everybody, because clearly you have a track record.
Yeah, track record, and I like to say this, that a scooper is only as good and accurate as the people that he talks to.
Sure.
And because we're giving this information to you secondhand, thirdhand. I mean, we're not there.
Right.
I'm not at Marvel Studios hearing conversations. I'm talking to people who were there, or heard from people who were there. I mean, it goes from one person to the other, and the way Marvel Studios operates, yeah, they're pretty focused, but they also make changes on the fly. I mean, And I always compare it to improvisational jazz because, the beat can change at any minute, depending on what Kevin Feige is feeling at a time. And they're a very well-structured company, but they're also very spontaneous as well, and changes are made.
We'll take a look at last night. Scott Derrickson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Proof positive right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in pre-production right now, and the guy quit.
Yeah, and it's probably the most anticipated movie coming up.
Yeah.
And the director quits. And it's like, whoa. It's insane. But just further back to your point.
Yeah, and it was a really shocking event for me what happened. I mean, I know people out there are saying, okay, we saw it coming. Yeah, it's easy to say that in 2020 hindsight,
Right, yeah.
But let me tell you something. There is some discussion about, this being about the release date. No, it's not about the release date. I mean, at least he was honest in saying it was about creative differences.
Right. And that, I think everybody interprets that as, I really want it to be a horror film, like a true scary horror film, and Kevin Feige is like, nope, it's going to be PG-13 and we're not going to scare little kids.
Yeah, there is some of that in his reasoning, and I actually, this is a Cosmic Wonder exclusive because I have some information about what really happened here.
Ooh, lovely. Let us know.
From what I've been told, initially, Multiverse of Madness was going to just expand upon the first film. And, obviously increase the horror elements of the previous film. But what Kevin Feige wanted to do, and what he has to do, is to move the MCU as a whole forward.
Right. Okay.
And so this is more of a transitional film, and that it's going to open the gates to new storylines and other events in the MCU. Whereas Derrickson wanted to focus more on the H.P. Lovecraft, Steve Ditko elements of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have a film that's going to tie in with WandaVision.
Right.
Which Derrickson had no problems with, except that, this movie is becoming larger in scope and more heroic than initially planned. And I think that's where the breakdown occurred. That this film is going to be more, I don't want to say linked to the MCU, but more MCU heavy in terms of its references and where it's headed.
Gotcha. Well, and when you have a title called Multiverse of Madness, I mean, the multiverses there's so much potential there. I feel like you were saying, with other kind of gateways into many other different MCU stories. So many.
Yeah, from what I've been told, Derrickson was uneasy with the new elements that are being added into the film.
It sounds like he wanted to make his own movie, but Kevin Feige was saying, well, it's really a movie for other movies as well that are coming in.
Exactly. You got it exactly right. And because what he intends now to do with the film is to bring in the Illuminati.
Right. And that's the scoop you gave me.
Yeah, exactly. And bring in mutants, and it's a huge, larger world that's going to be incorporated into the film. And what was initially going to be, a scary horror film, And there will still be scary, elements in the movie. That's not going to go away. But it's going to incorporate, a larger storyline coming through. And, it's going to get tied in with Loki as well, the Disney Plus series.
Yeah, I think Bob Iger said that.
Yeah. And so all these tie-ins, and I think Derrickson wanted a more simple film, honestly.
And I can understand that as a director.
Yeah.
Especially when you had the first one to yourself, right?
Yeah,
And now it's the sequel. So I can definitely understand that. In fact, I did a video about it last night, and my speculation was, I think I literally said Scott Derrickson wanted to just focus on his film, his aspects to it, picking up from the last one. We know he wanted Nightmare. He wanted Nightmare in the first one. But there's just, with everything happening in the MCU, and the MCU world got bigger because, the Fox deal, we have so many new characters. And Kevin Feige has already confirmed they have plans for them. He said it at SDCC. We didn't even have time to talk about Mutants and Fantastic Four. Clearly, there's already plans for them. And clearly, you've already leaked the Illuminati. So it does sound like exactly what you said, Scott Derrickson wanted his film.
He wanted his film, and the thing is, he needs to realize he's playing in a larger sandbox.
Yeah, that's the MCU. It's huge, and Marvel started this connected world, right? So.
Yeah, I think Edgar Wright had the same issue when he was trying to do Ant-Man as well.
Oh right, yeah, I remember that actually. I do.
And I think him and Derrickson are good friends as well. I mean, they probably share similar sensibilities. There are some people that can easily play in this huge sandbox. James Gunn has no issues with this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he's an independent filmmaker, and, he easily, can do it. But some other filmmakers, I think, have such a tight vision that it's difficult for them to open it up.
Yeah, and I think that just comes with, who the director is. Yeah. I personally think some would be really fascinated and honored with jumping into the MCU and contributing to the universe. But, Scott Derrickson, Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister, right? Like, big, scary films. And he's really a creative person and just wanted to focus on creating a specific movie. And it was just a little bit bigger than that, which, as we've heard, creative differences, they had to part ways, which is understandable.
Yeah, I think Multiverse of Madness is going to be a much bigger film than anybody initially anticipated.
Well, from what you've said, it is going to be.
It really is. It's almost like an Avengers, 3.0 or whatever you want to call it, or 6.0 or whatever.
Wow.
If you had Illuminati in there.
Yeah, insane.
It's going to be like Civil War level, so it's no longer just like the initial film. It's going to be much bigger.
Well, I guess how do you... Because a lot of people, it's like, okay, so Avengers Endgame's here, was the biggest movie of all time. It took, 10, 11 years to build it up. What do you do now? And it's just kind of like, well, I guess you do Multiverse of Madness now.
Well, yeah, exactly. People expect a certain, scope now for these films.
They do. Yeah, they do.
And they're spoiled. Let's face it. You have to keep...
We've been spoiled, yes.
Can you imagine the pressure of not only creating a quality film, but a quality film that's so humongous in scope that it'll make $1 billion over and over again?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That's a lot of pressure there. And then also, they just bought Fox. They can't have these characters sitting on the shelf. They have to use them.
Yeah, that's why they bought them, right?
Yeah. And I remember, Kevin Feige was saying that, we won't use these characters for 5 years or so. Oh, come on. No one believed it at the time. Come on.
We don't want to believe it.
Yeah, seriously, there's no way the shareholders are going to tolerate that. You're like, wait a minute, all these billions for Fox, and you're not going to use them yet? You're going to have us wait like half a decade,
Yeah.
before we start seeing these characters? That's not going to happen.
And then years for the deal to even happen.
And notice that Derrickson left. People are asking, why did he leave just now? Well, a year ago, they couldn't use the Fox IPs a year ago.
Right. Yeah.
So, obviously, that comes into factor, here. Like, okay, we got to use these characters, and all of a sudden, changes are being made.
Yep.
And I don't think he couldn't handle it. I think he's got his own vision of how it should have been, and he wasn't willing to play games. And that's fine, I'll be honest. I liked Doctor Strange. I thought it was a good film, but I wouldn't. I'm not heartbroken by his leaving.
Yeah, and I think since that's happened, there's been plenty of articles out there and plenty of talk online, of course, as it always happens, is that Marvel actually has a pretty clear direction on what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Kevin Feige has come out and said, we're going to introduce characters that we've wanted to introduce, and people aren't expecting. Well, no one's expecting the Illuminati. Maybe now since you leaked it, but...
Oops.
Yeah, my bad. But, that's clearly what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's really exciting what's going to happen next. And I was saying on my Facebook the other day, one way of, blowing people away after this, sad news is what would happen if they hired Del Toro to direct Doctor Strange.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Can you imagine Guillermo Del Toro directing this? Oh, my God. The internet would just break, it'd break in half,
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I want them to hire Zack Snyder, almost as a joke, though. Just as a joke.
Well, I am hearing they already have somebody in mind as a replacement. I don't know who it is, but I have this feeling, and this is gut instinct, it's somebody involved with WandaVision. I just got this feeling it'll be a smooth transition from WandaVision to this film.
And that makes perfect sense, because we already know that Wanda's going to be in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. We know that they're going to definitely tie into each other. That's already been stated. I think Matt Shakman, that's his name. I think Matt Chapman would probably be a really good choice to do that since he's directing the WandaVision series.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a perfect transition. I looked him up online, and I think he only has one feature film to his credit, but that doesn't matter. It's the Russo brothers only had TV shows to their credit.
Look what they've done.
Look at them now. They directed the biggest movie of all time.
Biggest movie of all time. Yep. Well, let's talk about the ultimate joke, right? Martin Scorsese comes in and directs the movie.
Oh, man, can you imagine that? Oh, man.
Maybe he can make it cinema then, right? Because he says it's not cinema. Maybe he can finally make the MC cinema. They're clearly struggling with the biggest movie of all time recently coming out.
It's funny because, when I was younger, I used to imagine a Daredevil film with Scorsese directing. Wow, mind-blowing, right?
Well, he'd die at the end, right?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Daredevil would die at the end, right? But
he gets killed by a Punisher or something.
Right, yeah, exactly. No, he's we joke. Martin Scorsese is a great director. He has his own opinion, of course.
I love Taxi Driver. Just one of the greatest films of all time.
Of course, yeah. And I believe he directed The Departed, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie so much.
He's an iconic talent, but some of these, older directors, I think they're just disappointed that their films aren't getting made, and I think that's where the issue is at.
Well, it's a new generation.
We live in different generation now. I mean, movies are expensive to go to.
Oh yeah, now they are. Yeah.
They have to be an event film for people to go see them.
Yeah, almost.
And
yeah.
If you want to direct a film with a huge budget, well, studios are going to be like, people are going to flock to see this. You know?
Right. Yeah. Almost have to be.
Otherwise, we'll just end up on Netflix. Netflix is where all the dramas go now.
Oh yeah, exactly. So it's definitely a different time now since when they were, directing all these big films. So,
if I'm gonna go to a theater to see a movie, then it has to be something that I feel needs to be seen on a large screen. Otherwise, why go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
I mean. That's why all the Marvel Studios movies, I see them on first day, I have to see them in a theater.
Oh, right. Of course, yeah. Of course. So Star Wars, all the Marvel, everything, the movies that just, like you said, they make you want to see them the very opening night.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's just, two people talking or whatever, okay, well, I'll wait for Netflix to see it,
Right, yeah. Yeah. So,
I'm not going to spend all that money to go see them in a theater.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more convenient for Netflix. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you giving us a backstory. Have you heard anything going on lately? I have to ask.
Oh, well, I heard when I scheduled this interview with you that I would have something to bring to
appreciate
the
that.
Here. I have 2 scoops that I want to drop exclusively for the Cosmic Wonder.
Amazing, thank you.
One is from the MCU, and why don't we start with that?
Sure, absolutely.
So I am hearing we are going to see a character we've not seen before in the MCU, and she might be possibly be in Love and Thunder, but I'm thinking that she's not. Maybe a cameo, possibly. But I'm hearing that Thor's sister is coming to the big screen.
Really?
Angela is coming.
Wow.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman's Angela is coming to the MCU. I don't know what film or project she'll be making her debut in. It seems to me the character is perfect for a Disney Plus show.
That's really interesting because, Aldrich, I think that's her name, Odin's daughter, right? But said the Norse way, Odin's daughter. So in the comics, she's supposed to be the firstborn, and they already did that with Hela. So I'd be very curious to see what they're gonna do with that. That's very interesting. Oh.
Yeah, I wonder how if they're going to tweak it at all. I don't know that much about the character. I mean, I have her first appearance from Spawn when
Yeah,
because she made her debut in Spawn.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And then Neil Gaiman sold her to Marvel Comics, and then they made her an Asgardian. So I'm curious to see what they will do with the character, if, how faithful it will be to the original comic book.
Yeah, because it seems like they almost have done the story with Hela. So I'm curious. I'm curious as well. Wow. Well, thank you for telling us that. That's very. I thought you were gonna say Enchantress for a second, but that's kind of more interesting than Enchantress.
I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up in Love and Thunder. I got a feeling she will. She's a very popular character. She's an iconic Thor character.
She is, yeah. Wow.
One of my favorites as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I definitely appreciate my channel.
More, and the other one is a Transformers scoop.
Transformers, I love it.
So I am hearing that the Power Rangers, they're recasting the characters.
Right. Okay. So completely new.
Are going to make a cameo in Bumblebee 2.
Wow. Really?
And I guess they're basically gearing up for a crossover.
Wow. Well,
for those characters.
So that kind of makes sense because wasn't there a recent something with Hasbro?
Yeah, So, Hasbro owns them all.
Right. Okay, that's what it is. Right. Wow. That would be insane.
That would be, and I think it'll be a great way of rebooting the Power Rangers franchise by having them be in the next Bumblebee film.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way. I loved Haley Steinfeld in the last Bumblebee film, and a lot of people didn't really like the last Power Rangers. They didn't really like it that much. I know a lot of people did, but they're also almost 50-50. A lot of people didn't like.
I think the reboot will do better. I mean, it seems they're on the right track with this one, and if they tie it in with Transformers, well, there you go. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really hard to fail.
Yeah, that's a cinematic universe. I think will do well if the scripts are right. They find the right people. But it looks like they're going off in the right direction now.
Well, that's very
Marvel
interesting.
Studios makes it look so easy.
Oh, they do. It's not, but they make it look easy.
I know. So many people try and fail,
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about DC the other day about that as well, how they should probably just do their single one-off films and then they can make Wonder Woman and Batman and them come together, but not everything has to be in one combined universe because, like you said, Marvel makes it look easy, but it's not that easy.
No, I mean, look, DC had a tough time with it, and they pretty much have given up on it for now.
Right.
Except that The Rock really wants to keep it going. I mean, he really wants a cohesive universe with a lot of DC characters.
Yeah, and I can't wait for Black Adam. That's going to be amazing.
I can't wait either. And I'm curious to see Black Adam. I'm just wondering again what the tone will be. I mean, it's The Rock.
Right.
So he can't be that villainous, He's such a likable guy.
All right, everyone loves him, so it's kind of like, more probably.
Yeah, right? I mean,
probably more the anti-hero route then.
Yeah, that's what he's been saying, and I think that's exactly where they'll go. I just can't imagine him being despicable as The Rock.
Right, yeah, I know. You just you love him. You look at him, you love him. Well, thanks for dropping those 2 scoops. The last question. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your support the past couple of months, and I guess I'll let you and the viewers know that we are planning another Scoop Jam the next couple of months. I'm just waiting to get some more information here, that we can link all the different YouTube shows together like we did before.
Yeah, awesome.
With Lords of the Long Box and Playbook Theater and Pete's Basement, and hopefully we'll get some really exciting MCU news in the next couple of months. Notice I don't mention DC as much. I love DC Comics. I really am. And, there have been some good DC movies as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just not as organized as Marvel Studios.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, and their long-term plans are kind of hazy. I hear something, but then I'm like, yeah, but will this materialize?
Right, yeah. Right, will it actually happen? Yeah, so it's a little bit unsure.
Yeah.
So then, if you don't mind, I will ask and obviously say as little or none as you want, but for people wondering, how exactly do you happen upon these scoops?
Okay, a couple of ways. I've been in the business for 33 years now, and I met people, in the 90s who ended up working with some pretty important jobs, and I also used to work for Warner Brothers Records as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I've had some corporate, connections, and many of them also through attorneys I work with who know people.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And people talk. And it was a lot easier to get scoops before because I didn't go out and tell people about it.
Right. Sure, right. Now that you tell people got to keep their mouths shut.
Like, yeah, I know you're a comic book fan. Let me tell you this,
Right, gotcha.
But I have made so many friends in the industry, mostly in the past couple of years.
Okay.
Doing interviews with people, with celebrities, and you meet people that way. And social media is a really big factor in all of it.
Okay. Well, it's huge now, so yeah.
It is huge, and what's interesting is that after I broke the Spider-Man news, and everybody knew who I was, they just introduced me to more people in general, and it's really exciting how it all turned out that way.
Yeah, it's been, I can imagine for you, it's been quite a ride because you did really kind of just blow up after that. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, it did. I mean, there are people who, like a lot of people at Sony that I knew no longer talk to me.
Well,
that's fine. That's completely expected.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, so if I drop a Spider-Man scoop, I always tell people, yeah, but I don't know Sony's side because I don't really hear from them anymore.
Ah, gotcha.
And, people are very careful with protecting their jobs.
Of course. They have to, of course.
Yeah, they don't want to be the person like, hey, you're the one that stole this information,
Right, exactly. Yeah, they can't be given information, and then it gets out, and then they're fired.
But I tell you, the hardest leaks to get are from Star Wars.
Really?
I know there are a lot of Reddit leaks for Rise of Skywalker, but man, I didn't put any trust in some of the stuff that was coming out because I couldn't get any leaks myself. It was very difficult.
Wow, that's very interesting.
It's easier to get leaks from Marvel Studios than it is to get leaks from Lucasfilm, at least from me.
Right, okay. Interesting.
And the one I managed to get a couple of weeks ago was the Lando Calrissian TV show.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
For Disney Plus, but other than that, like if you ask me, hey, what's Kevin Feige's movie going to be about for Star Wars? I have no idea.
Right.
No one's talking, and maybe no one knows yet. Maybe basketball.
Yeah, right. Maybe they don't even have an idea. They know that Kevin Feige's going to do it.
They just know, okay, he's working on something.
Right. Well, I know at least my subscribers and the people who watch my channel are more than happy with the Marvel leaks.
Oh, yeah. I can tell. I mean, I see all the views on there, and I'm like, okay, wow, it is really popular.
Yeah, it's a great community. We love the leaks. I want to thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
No, I want to thank you for what you've done for our community. I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when we say that we truly do enjoy the leaks and what you do for everybody. And thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate that.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and anytime, man, I'm here. I would love to do this anytime.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We got 2 exclusive scoops today, and we'll be talking soon. So thank you.
Will do, man. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. You too. Bye.